So I'm Roger Henderson, and I'm Managing Director of SCIRRA Limited.
And I'm Laura Donaghy, and I am the Social Media and Community Manager of SCIRRA Limited.
Obviously Construct 3, but one of the important things I think that we are not teachers inside our company. We're developing a better understanding of what is needed by the educational market, and we're growing our partnership. So we will at the exhibition have both Estelle Ashman, who's the curriculum developer from the Digital Schoolhouse, and we'll have Mark Ward, who's a teacher from St John Fisher Catholic Voluntary School in Dewsbury, and they'll be there on hand to explain how the product is used in the classroom and to give frontline feedback, which I think is critical, really. But the company was originally formed in 2011 by two lads in their bedroom. Classic British company, Ashley, who wanted to develop an engine that allowed people who didn't know how to program to make computer games. And that's exactly what he did. And they developed the engine, Construct 2, and they began to market it online. And very successfully, actually. They were profitable from day one. You don't hear that very often, but they were. But over time, they found out that schools were beginning to purchase it. They found they were providing schools with Construct 2, and really not understanding why that was the case. And over the last 3 or 4 years, we've spent more time sort of understanding now why Construct 2 and now Construct 3 are used in schools. And it's very clear. It's a very compelling way of teaching children at the early stages, how to learn basic computer and logic skills. And it fills a big gap, big void, which exists in primary school where Scratch is used very often, in fact almost ubiquitously, I would say, to teach those sorts of skills. You often find at the end of that, the brighter children actually who want to move on, the only way they can go is to Python, to a language. And that's a big jump. And that's a point at which many students are lost. And so we fill that gap perfectly. We're a block-based programming at its simplest level. We replace Scratch very clearly, but we're able to take students way beyond what Scratch can do, and I say all the way to actually ultimately producing full-blown programs.
Other than they love it. A lot of people look at it and go, it's just a game engine. What can I do with this? How is this useful to me? But they come back and we hear teachers using it to teach basic programming, teach now we've added JavaScript. That's immensely useful to them. They can teach business concepts, they can teach programming concepts. They're finding it so useful, and it's really nice to hear.
It is good to hear, isn't it? And we get feedback from emails from our customers, particularly when they come around for the second year renewal, saying things like, it's made a massive difference to the number of my kids that have passed their end of year exams. We enjoy using it, and we hear, we would say this, wouldn't we? But it's just the best thing out there, and particularly this addition of JavaScript has blown many people's minds. It's when you say to people, look, you can start off teaching with block programming, and then you can take your kids all the way to JavaScript. They go, really? And I think that's a relatively new addition early this year, and I think that's going to be a fabulous thing for us and for the teachers that have seen it so far. And for the teacher in the future. So we're really quite excited about that. And I guess that the biggest testimonial is people who renew. And we have something like 70 to 75% of schools renew their subscriptions each year, which is a good, a very positive result. Yeah, well, I think as a way of getting close to the market, we really need to find our way to the decision makers in the schools, and we identified Schools and Academies exhibition as a place to go to do just that. The attendees seem to be exactly the type of people that we need to meet, and so we're very much looking forward to being there. By being small and perfectly formed. No, our key differentiators, I guess, are the fact that we can carry you from, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but from block-based programming all the way to a full-blown computer language. There's nothing else out there that does that. So at some point, when you use any other tool, you're going to have to stop using that tool and use something else if you want to move to a proper script-based language. You don't have to do that with Construct 3. You go all the way from the basis of Scratch all the way up to full-blown JavaScript. The second big differentiator for us is because it is a software as a service, although it runs offline, it will run on anything. It runs on anything, it'll run a browser. So it'll run on a Macintosh, it'll run on your PC, your laptop, it'll run on your iPhone, your Android device.
The Raspberry Pi.
And the Raspberry Pi. And it requires no installation. So as a teacher, you don't have to go run into the IT department to get them to install software on all the machines. You just run your browser and there it is. So this is a fabulous positive for the product. And it means for us in particular, and probably less in the UK, but more in the States, where something like 50% of schools have Chromebooks, but hardly anything to run on them. This works on Chromebooks. So, your kids can actually use it at school on your Chromebook or the Macs at school, your PC, and they can go home and they can use it on their, whatever they got at home. It doesn't matter. So that's another big differentiator for us.
A remote preview, we've had some feedback on being really helpful. The idea being that you can have students working on projects that they can then really easily test just by pressing a preview button. It brings up a QR code or a URL, which you can put into your mobile device, someone else's PC, a tablet, and immediately test whatever you've been working on. So it's a great way for students to share their work with their friends, with their teacher if they need a little bit of extra help, maybe in terms of debugging and finding what's wrong with their code. It's also kind of a nice way to take a break from work and just go, hey, do you want to see what I've been working on?